what's up, and welcome back to Interpreting the Stars, where today we are going to be reviewing Zombieland in preparation to see the second Zombieland movie when that comes out to digital next week. I haven't seen it yet. Now, I remember when this one came out to theaters. It was all the rage. Everybody loved this horror comedy, and for good reason. At the time when this came out, it was pretty original all around, had a great cast, had some really well-placed humor. Honestly, there wasn't much to hate about it. When it comes down to horror comedies, I'm usually really specific about the balance between the two. And I usually prefer to have slightly more horror than comedy, because comedy in its purest form can sometimes be a little bit overbearing, which takes away from the tenseness of the horror genre. So my perfect balance personally is 60% horror, 40% comedy, like seen in Joss Whedon's Buffy series, or my favorite, The Cabin in the Woods. Whedon is often really good with subtle but hilarious humor that really complements the horror angle well. Zombieland is a film that I feel is the opposite, where it's 40% horror, 60% comedy. It's clearly putting more strength in the comedy than the horror, which really only acts as a setting than a realistic threat. But I gotta say it, this may be the only horror comedy that does that in a way that I love, because it's mellifluous. Let's get cracking. This review is brought to you by the word of the day, mellifluous, having a smooth, rich flow. Zombieland takes place in a post-apocalyptic world where zombies roam the earth and only the strong survive. Jesse Eisenberg plays Columbus, a young man that has contributed the success of his survival to a self-designated list or code of strict rules that have kept him alive thus far.
The code is more what you'd call guidelines than actual rules.
Also on his journey, he meets Tallahassee, played by Woody Harrelson, Wichita, played by Emma Stone, and Little Rock, played by Abigail Spencer. Together, they attempt to find a famed amusement park that is told to be zombie-free. So, the intrinsic part of the plot is actually very similar to the Lego Movie, where somebody is so set in their ways and their belief system that they must always follow a set list of actions every time or else. And then you have Woody Harrelson's character, who just kind of pops around and doesn't follow any of them, and yet he's survived up until now. Then again, it's not an idea solely introduced in the Lego Movie. Finding a way to stop being so closed off in order to truly live has often been at the center of a main character's through line. That being said, the list of rules Columbus has created is never something seen as terrible in Zombieland. Where another movie would try to teach a character to open up, I don't feel like this one ever does that. It just allows for other viewpoints to provide their perspective on how to live in addition to Columbus's rules. And it allows him to add a rule to his own list, which was to enjoy the little things, which has more weight to it when you sit down and you think about it. It is easy to see why people love this movie, because whether they know it or not, a lot of people place a lot of importance on the people in the movie, on their performance, how well they have chemistry together, what makes their characters tick. And this film checks all of those boxes. Above all else, this movie is about the people in it and how they interact, and because of that, the movie is effectively hilarious. But the story itself, it really isn't much of anything if you're gonna pay attention. Each character is trying to do something else, which is a strong aspect of the characters more so than it is the story. Columbus is trying to return to Columbus, where his family lives. He doesn't exactly like them. He's just returning because he wants to see familiar faces, familiar places. Tallahassee just wants a GD Twinkie, and the girls in the movie are trying to find an amusement park. From a narrative standpoint, the one thing you want to see in a story is a combined overall goal and a protagonist that is leading the charge because he or she senses value in that path. Columbus and Tallahassee are pretty much aimless in what they're doing, so they eventually just agree to go with the girls because why not? The girls don't sense much value in the amusement park itself, other than the age-old zombie excuse of there are no zombies there, which may or may not be true. They don't even really care about that anyways. They just want to go because it's nostalgic. But there is no real value behind any of these personal goals. Plus, there's not really any kind of opposing force against what they're doing either, other than zombies. But because this is more of a comedy than it is a horror, that threat, like I said, is more situational than it is threatening. So from a strictly narrative standpoint, there's not a lot going on here. But like I said, the pacing of the film is so smoothly intact, the characters are so well put together and rounded, and the comedy just clicks so often that I don't think anyone's going to be looking too deeply into that story, if at all. No, it's not perfect, but it hardly anything ever is. And the strangeness of the Twinkie side story is just ridiculous enough to fit. Now, I know I'll be reviewing Zombieland 2 next week, but I gotta say, after this rewatch, I'm not entirely sure if a sequel was ever that necessary. We'll see though. What did I score Zombieland? 84%, 84 out of 100 possible stars, granting it the letter grade of B. As far as horror comedies are concerned, this is one of the better ones I've ever seen and probably the best horror comedy with an emphasis on the comedy more so than the horror. Take that as you will. Fellas, I'm curious on what you thought about this first Zombieland film. Is it one of your favorites? Let me know in the comments down below. As for YouTube, you know what to do. Hit the subscribe button if you like this review and would like to see some more like it. Hit the thumbs up button because that always helps out my channel. And don't forget about the little bell icon because that helps notify you when I come out with my next review. And until then, peace out!